What if that nagging feeling in the back of your neck was real? What if those hands reaching out from the dark that you believed were there were there? What if the monster in the basement really existed? And what if there was really something under the bed? Would you have the courage to face your fears?
Welcome back to What Do You Fear? In our previous episode, Paul had just escaped the city with his life in the back of a pickup truck. They don't have communication with Fort Drum, and something strange seems to be happening with the zombies. Will he and the rest of the team make it back to Fort Drum? Find out this week on The Lost Generation. Holy shit! What the hell is happening in this story? It seems like the zombies are getting much smarter, or maybe my grandfather was just going nuts. I just need to keep reading to find out more. November 3rd, 2020. I've been separated from my group. We were driving on the way back to Drum when one of the soldiers turned. He must have been bitten during all the confusion of our escape. He was able to bite two of the other soldiers he was sitting next to, and then chaos took over. The driver of the truck I was in cut the wheel too hard and caused us to slam into one of the vehicles we had moved off the road. Luckily, we weren't going too fast, but some of the guys that were shot out of the back of the truck, they didn't make it. By the time we got our bearings together, the two soldiers that had been bitten had turned and were trying to attack the rest of us. Two of the soldiers, they just made a run for it, and the ones that didn't run were attacked by the three infected soldiers. I didn't really know what to do, and I panicked, and I tried to hide behind some of the vehicles near the crash. I heard as the ones that stayed and fought were ripped apart. I'm not sure what happened to the other two that ran away, but I hope they found safety. I was held up under a vehicle for several hours before the zombies moved along after eating their way through the soldiers. While under the vehicle, I was able to get an idea of how these things operated. There seems to be a bit of a leadership structure here. The zombies that had been turned earlier seemed to be able to herd the fresh ones. That being said though, you can tell there really wasn't much going on in their mind other than the need to consume. When I thought the coast was clear, I rolled out from under the vehicle. At this point, night had come, and I couldn't see a thing. I figured it was probably best to hold up in one of these vehicles until the morning. The one I had hid under seemed as good as any. I sat in fear for what seemed like an eternity, and at some point, I must have passed out from exhaustion. That's when I knew I had to get a move on back to Drum, and see if anyone else had made it back. I never saw the other vehicle that had been with us after the crash, and wondered if they kept going, not thinking it was worth the risk to come back for us. I hope that isn't the case, but you never know nowadays. I grabbed my bag and my weapon, and started the long walk back to Drum. I don't know what to think about this journal anymore. Every time I think I understand what's going on, it seems like things get way out of control. Did he make it back to Drum? I mean, he must have if my dad is still alive today. Maybe that was a different family before mine. I have so many questions, and I think the more I read, the more answers I'll get. I gotta get back downstairs, though, and make an appearance. I've been up here in this room all day, and I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of The Lost Generation. Come back next week to find out if Paul makes it back to Drum.